Saturday to 6.
Oh, that's a great day. A great weekend,
It
actually,
is
to
a
do
good
Christmas
weekend,
in
and they are
Calaveras County.
something else. The last time I had them, I will never forget the sound of people's jaws dropping when they started to sing, when these women started to sing. It was absolutely stunning music. Anyway, thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, now I'd like to turn the evening over to Kathy Maxwell, who's the Crime Prevention Officer from Angels Camp Police Department, and before that she spent 18 years with the Calaveras County Sheriff's Department and also working on crime prevention. So Kathy, thank you.
Can you guys hear me without microphone?
Very well.
Okay, I'll try to talk as loud as I can. Just to let you guys know, I am deaf. I do wear hearing aids, so if you ask me a question, please speak up, because I may not be able to hear what you're saying. First of all, I have a sign-in sheet that I would like to have everybody sign in on so that I can keep track of who I presented this to. So I'm going to start with here, and if I can pass it around, I would really appreciate it. The other thing is, I want you to know that, first of all, I spent a week making that. The basket was humongous. I'm not in here, and I thought, you got to be kidding. That's my artistic ability. The other thing I wanted to tell you is tonight I am not here to entertain you. However, I did come up with an awesome blonde joke, and I'll be darned if I have forgotten it. So if I remember it during the evening, I will tell you. But I'm not here to entertain you tonight. What I'm here for tonight is to explain to you and to teach you some things that you can do to protect your businesses. Does everybody here have a pen or a pencil, please? Okay. I'm going to pass these around. These are for you to keep. If I run out, I have some that aren't in the nice neat little plastic things. So if I run out, I'm not sure how many I have and how many are here. If we run out, let me know. I would like to have you follow along with me in this, because it is something that you can fall back on if the need occurs. In the back of your packet is the old nasty evaluation. Okay, I would appreciate it if you would take a second at the end and fill out the evaluation. You can leave it upside down on the table up here. If you don't care to sign it, that's fine. If you do want to sign it, that's also fine. I'll leave these here in case I don't have enough. Okay, let me get off my week's work.
Just one more. Just for looking at here, or they're not to be taken? I'm not sure. Well, we want to know so we know whether it's right on them or not.
Okay, does everybody have one?
Kathy, did you say more?
Yeah, I have some here that are.
Question, please.
These are for you guys to keep.
Oh, good. Well, then we wouldn't need another one.
And we're going to play a fill-in-the-blank game.
All right, thank you, dear.
No, maybe up front I'll have it.
I have a pen. Mine is
I'll wait until they all get passed out.
Who doesn't have a pen?
Teresa.
Just click, guys. I understand.
Never change purses. Here's evaluations.
Here, I'll give you this one.
You guys need them?
Please.
Here's evaluations. Take one each.
Favorite things to steal.
And listen.
You know what? These are nice noise units are, but you know, top of the story.
Do you want one?
Yeah, it's my tree. One thing that's
Okay, everybody ready? Everybody got something to write with, and everybody's got a copy of the brochure. Okay, the topic of my discussion tonight is holiday retail crime. How vulnerable is your business? We're going to talk about that. Let's talk on the very first page here. Favorite things to steal. Okay, we're going to fill in the blank here. It seems to me that if I write stuff down when people are talking, I remember things better. If you guys want to shred these when you leave here, that's fine. If you want to file them away someplace, that's fine. It isn't going to hurt my feelings because I won't know. But I would like to have you fill in the blanks as we're going along. I'm going to be writing the stuff on the board here so that you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. Okay, favorite things to steal. One of the primary things that we see that gets stolen is tobacco products. Admiral. Obviously, this is for personal use. They usually don't, steal it and then turn around and resell it. But tobacco, for some reason or another, is a prime thing that people steal. Another thing that's very prime is health and beauty products. If anybody has any comments or questions while we're going through this, please break in. Health and beauty products. Young women usually steal these kind of items and they take them home and use them on themselves. High school students are trying for health and beauty products. Another thing that's very, very prominent with the younger people is music and videos. Everybody see this in class? Another item that is quite often stolen is clothing. Liquor, another one.
That's always been popular.
And last but not least, and believe it or not, this is something that can be devastating to somebody. ATM machines.
Yeah, they've done it twice locally.
Let me tell you a little story about ATM machines. You know when you go to the mall and you go Christmas shopping or whatever, and in the middle of the mall you see these ATM machines that are sitting around that very hungrily take your information on cards. Okay, ATM machines. Did you know that anybody can own an ATM machine? Joe Blow, that just got out of prison last week, can own an ATM machine. And all they need is for you to walk by and stick your card in there, and believe it or not, the card doesn't come back out, and now they've got the information off of your card, and they can withdraw from your account in a matter of 2 minutes. All computer-based. It's a scary situation. There was a mall in, the Sunrise Mall. I'm sure you guys have all been to Sunrise Mall at one time or another. Sunrise Mall had someone that had an ATM machine in there that had that very situation happen. A criminal owned it, and that criminal got over 1,500 people's names and account numbers before it was caught. Before somebody actually reported the machine wasn't working properly. So that's a scary thought.
Excuse me, how did they get your ID?
Pardon me?
How did they get your ID?
Off your PIN number.
Your PIN number, yeah, how did they get the PIN number? Oh.
Let's talk about different types of retail crimes. Okay, the first one is smash and grab, and I'm just going to talk about these. I won't write them on there. They're pretty self-explanatory. Smash and grab. They come in, they smash the display cabinet, break it, grab the jewelry, grab whatever's in there that they're after, and they take off. Okay, smash and grab. A ram raid. That is something that is seen a lot in the city areas, not so much up here. I don't believe we've had one up here, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't have one tomorrow. Okay, a ram raid, what people do is they will go and steal a vehicle, and they will wait until after you've closed, and they will ram through the front of your building, grab whatever they want, leave the vehicle there, jump in a second car, and they're gone. Okay. That happens quite often in the city. Often happens to things like mini marts and those kind of things. The majority of these happen after closing. Shoplifting, the old lifty finger thing. Everybody knows about shoplifting. Anybody in here been a victim of shoplifting? I'm sure everybody in here has if you own a business. Burglaries. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Somebody breaks in after hours, they steal your safe, they steal your money, they steal items out of your store, and then they exit out through a door or a window. Thieves like, and I want you to fill in the blank here, a safe target. A safe target. Thieves want a safe target. Obviously, they don't want to be caught, or they wouldn't be in there stealing from you. If you make yourself a safe target, you are going to be hit. Don't make your business one of these.
What is a safe target?
Turn your page. One of the most common retail crime is, believe it or not, employee theft. How many of you in here have ever had an employee steal from you? Okay, I can guarantee you. Does everybody in here have an employee? Okay, everybody in here has been a victim of that thing. There isn't a person that works for somebody else that hasn't stolen, even if it's a pencil, a roll of Scotch tape at Christmas time. Okay, those are all things that people steal that are considered employee theft. The minute that you leave the store, they see an item there that mom would like for Christmas, and they wind up snatching it. So be really, really cautious. I mean, employee theft is a major, there are more cases of employee theft than there are of actual shoplifting. That's what's scary about it. You're going to lose more money from theft from your employees than you're going to lose from shoplifting, unless you own JCPenney's or something like that. However, let me talk to you about JCPenney's. You know, Mervyn's, and we're all aware of what happened with Mervyn's. Okay, my mother-in-law is the assistant manager for JCPenney's, a store in the Valley. And she told me this last week that they had an audit come in because they have a new store manager, and an audit is always done just when a new store manager comes in. And they lost $273,000 since January of last year in employee theft. A pair of jeans here, a sweatshirt here, a handful of jewelry here, a purse here, items that people will think that nobody will ever notice is missing. Those are all items, and I can tell you right now, there's not a person in here that doesn't have a desirable item for an employee to steal, or you still wouldn't be in business. Yes?
How do they determine it's employees?
Catch them?
Are they caught?
Oh, yeah, they'll catch them. They've got videotapes. The stores are all videotapes. They'll wind up doing a big investigation and finding out who's doing what. That's a scary thought. Most crimes are, get ready to fill in the blank, crimes of opportunity. Crimes of opportunity. You give people the opportunity to steal from you by being lax. Let me talk a little bit about that in a neighborhood situation. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little war story. About 4 or 5 years ago now, I guess it's been, while I was working with Calaveras Sheriff, we had a situation that happened up Highway 4. One of the highway patrolmen that lived up there had been out working in his yard on his days off, and he had his blower out and his weed eater out and all of this stuff out, and he'd been working pretty hard all day long on his yard. And he went in to have some iced tea and to sit down and kick back for a few minutes. Well, end of that little part of it. Okay. One of the officers, or one of the deputies from Calaveras Sheriff, was coming down from the Arnold area, driving in through Murphy's, and he did a traffic stop on 2 young males that were in a pickup truck. And as he approached, they had a signal or a stoplight out. As he walked up alongside the pickup, he happened to look in there, and he saw 4 or 5 weed eaters and a couple of lawn blowers and a couple of miscellaneous tools that were in there. And he walked up to them and talked to the people that were sitting in the vehicle and asked them, you know, whose equipment was this? And their comment was, well, you know, this stuff here came from a place our parents just had some work done on them, and we're just picking them up and taking them back so mom and dad can do some yard work this weekend. Okay? Well, the officer happened to pick up one of the items and turned it over and looked and saw that on it was a driver's license number. Well, the driver's license number obviously didn't match either the driver or the passenger because those kids stated that belonged to their parents. So the deputy went and he ran that driver's license number to find out who it came back to. Well, lo and behold, it came back to the highway patrolman that lived in Arnold. So the sheriff's department's dispatch called him at home and said, hey, by any chance, do you have a weed eater and a lawnmower and all of this kind of stuff? He goes, oh yeah, I've been working with it all day long. He goes, well, you know what? Go out and check and see if it's still out in your front yard. And he went out there and it was gone. Okay, crime of opportunity. You give people the opportunity to rip you off. How many of you leave storage doors unlocked during the daytime? Okay, does it need to be unlocked? No, it doesn't. Do you have windows in your building that open? How many of you do not have windows in your building that open? Okay, there's a few of you that don't. Those of you that do, you need to make sure when you leave at night that you lock them from the inside and the outside. So that if someone was to burglarize your building, they now have no way to get out. If the door closes behind them, if they come in through a doorway and you've got it locked on the outside, they're going to have a hard time getting those items out because they aren't going to just be able to open the door. Okay, I'll talk about that again in a few more minutes. Crimes of opportunity. You provide the means, they provide the theft. Okay, how do we provide the means? Let's talk about this. By placing an item of value near a doorway. A valuable item near the doorway.
That's me.
Somebody's giggling over here. They must have items near the doorway.
Things we want to get rid of.
Okay, another way that you can provide a mean is having expensive, desirable items on countertops. That are away from your cash register. If you're going to have costly items on a countertop, have them near the cash register. Okay, another thing that I see all the time when I go into stores, and we're going to talk about that again in a few minutes, is how many times have you come into the store and seen your employee not behind the cash register? That's where they need to be, is behind the cash register. Poor location of your cash register. Cash register again. Poor location of your cash register. The next one, poor arrangement of display shelves. Now, I made a little thing here that's kind of dumb. Let's talk about display shelves. Okay, here's your trusty little employee standing there next to the cash register. Here's your doorway. Here's your windows across the front of your building. Best way to have your shelves arranged is so that this person at the cash register can see down each aisle. I've gone into many stores and seen where items are lined up this way, and this person here can only see this front row. If you'll go to a grocery store, you will notice the shelves go the same way that the cash registers are. People can see down those rows from cash registers. And that's the way you need to display your whatever you put your display stuff on, any cabinets or things you put clothing on, needs to be arranged similar to this. It will keep people from being able to shop from you. If you cannot do this, another thing that you can have, you've seen those kind of rounded mirrors, put one of them up in the corner, and what that will do is that will show the back side of your merchandise. It will show what's on your aisles from the back side. They are inexpensive to buy. They are not costly. They're inexpensive to buy. You put them in a corner. And my suggestion is to put them in the corner opposite of your cash register so you can see up your gross. If at all possible, try to arrange your shelves and your display cabinets in a manner such as this. You can have a display cabinet along here, you can have it across the back, and you can still see it from wherever your cash register is. Your cash register should be close to the front door. Okay, a lot of people have their cash registers in the back. A person can come in and grab stuff here and run right out the door. I'm suggesting that you train your employees to stand near the cash register at all times unless they're helping somebody. Try to have them stand by the cash register area. And one thing that's really important, and I might be getting ahead of my notes here, when a person comes into your business, how you can get a feel for them, make eye contact with them and greet them. Hi, how are you guys doing today? I'm glad to see you guys are here. If that person won't look at you, that should be an alarm. I think I just got ahead of myself. Let me look at my notes. Yes. Turn the next page. What can we do? Greet and make eye contact with your customers. Notice the note below it. Nervous, shifty eyes won't make contact with you should be a red flag warning. They are going to attempt to rip you off. So the beginning of that is greet and make eye contact with your customers. Nervous, shifty eyes won't make eye contact with you should be a red flag warning. Everybody got that written? Okay. Make a sign that reads. Okay, first of all, everybody keep looking at me. Everybody look at me. Okay. Did anybody see a little sign in here tonight that wasn't in here earlier? Okay. If you put that sign up above your cash register, you watch and how many people's eyes will shift to that. And it says, for your safety and ours, we are being videotaped. You don't have to have a videotape. And I'm not telling you to go out and buy a camera because you don't need one. All you need is the sign. It makes them nervous. If you're videotaping, you know, that's obvious evidence right there. You can go to prison for that. You can make it on your computer. Make it big enough that they can see it. Real simple sign. For your safety, and then put below it in smaller letters, and ours. We are being videotaped, or we are being videotaped. Place it near your cash register. Pardon me? Yes, it is. It is legal. That's the first question was, is it legal? Yes, it is. You can buy fake cameras, another fill in the blank, or you can install the mirrors that I told you about. The fake cameras you can get over the internet for $4 or $5 a piece, and you can put them on every corner and one of them above the cash register. And believe it or not, when you plug them in, they blink a little red light. Makes people nervous if they're in the process of ripping you off. Okay. Next page. Secure your building at night. You have no idea how many times our officers have walked up and down Main Street and found front doors unlocked, windows open on the sides, jewelry sitting in the display cabinet exposed to anybody that's walking down the street at night. The drapes are all drawn, it's dark in there. You'd be totally shocked if you ever did a ride along with one of us and found what they see when they're driving around at night. Okay. Have proper locks on your doors. I'm talking about deadbolt locks, and I'm not talking about just the front door. I'm talking about any door that enters your store needs to have a good lock on it. It needs to have at least 1.5 inch throw on it, and your lock is only as good as what you attach it to. So if you have got a rotten out door trim and you put a 15-inch bolt in there to lock it, all they have to do is break through the side of it and they'll get in. So proper locks are very important. Make sure that you secure their way out of your building. I can't stress that enough. When they get in there and find out they have no way to get out, they are not going to be happy campers. Here's another big one. Leave your money drawer or your cash drawer, and the word is open. If a person is walking by and they look in your building at night and they see your cash drawer open and the cash part of it, the little tray part of it that the money goes in, if it is sitting up on the counter, they know there is no money in there. Okay, leave your money or your cash drawer open with the tray sitting on top of the counter. Remove all of the money, including the pennies. I mean, you know what? If they can get $5 worth of pennies from your store and go next door and get $5 worth of pennies from your store and $5 from her store, they got enough to buy themselves some meth. That's what they're looking for. Leave some lights on inside and don't close your blinds. Leave some lights on the inside and don't close your blinds. When patrolling at night, we would like to be able to see inside your store. This would also make an intruder feel uncomfortable. If they know that people driving by can see them in there, they aren't going to want to be there because remember, they don't want to be caught. Leave a TV or a radio on at night. It doesn't have to be blaring, but leave it on loud enough that if somebody did make entry and they heard a TV on, they're going to flee. If you have any donation jars that are sitting on a counter, place them in a secure area for the night. There's a lot of money in those little things that people put up for donations. Several years ago, the sporting goods store up there on Highway 4, just in the Arnold area, was burglarized, and that's what they stole. There was something like $60 in there. A lot of people don't think about security now. It just sits there. It's not legally your money anyways, but it's money that's being given by your people that shop in your store. Facts. Burglars will often return to the same areas, especially if they know they made an easy entry. And it usually happens within 1 month of the initial burglary. So if you've been burglarized, unless you take precautions this next time, they will probably burglarize you again within that month. Why that is, we haven't figured that out, but they do. Usually because they know they have an easy entrance. Let's talk about checks. All checks should be made out for the amount only. We are not a banking system. You don't need to cash checks for them. Insist that they make out of their checks for the amount only. If the individual is not from the area, insist on management approval for all checks from out of the area, from out of the county or whatever, or even if it's Valley Springs. If you want to have your employees ask you about accepting a check, they need to do that. We have a lot of bounce checks, a lot of checks that are fraud, that are made up on somebody's laptop computer. Things that you can do to protect yourself against bad checks. Get a thumbprint. Okay, there is a little flyer right here that I've got. What there is, it's a little tiny pad, you can come up and look at it afterwards, it's a little tiny round pad about this big around, it's a little ink pad, and when a person writes the check, turn the check over and have them roll their thumbprint on it. If they say they don't want to do that, don't take the check. Because why wouldn't anybody? First of all, I have that done to me one time. This has been probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it was down in Modesto. And at first I was offended and thought, I got to give you my thumbprint. But then I started thinking about it. That's a darn good idea. If that check is no good, I don't care if that person rips up the check and walks out. Obviously, the check is fraud. The check is no good. So you can roll their thumbprint, or have them just take their thumb on that little sticky thing and stick it on the back of the check. And even if it's a smeared print, you're at least going to know the check is probably good, or they wouldn't have done it. If they refuse to do it, think twice about accepting that check. They're cheap to buy. See, I think this one here is, let's see, you could buy 6 of them for, 6 of them for $30. 6 little pads, they're $9.50 a pad if you buy them separate. Yes?
So what if they put this on the check and it's like that?
And the check is no good?
Yeah.
Well, then what you're going to wind up doing is you'll go through the district attorney's office, and now they got a roll thumbprint. They'll send that thumbprint to DOJ, and we'll have a definite individual's name, knowing that person may sign somebody else's check. It may be a bad check, but if we've got a roll thumbprint and they've been arrested for something in the past, that print is going to be on display on the computer up there at the Department of Justice. Yes.
I think it seems like a while back I got something in the mail from the district attorney, and I had never been putting license numbers, taking license numbers. I always look at an ID, but I never put that down. And a lot of people don't like you to do that, but if I remember correctly, the literature that I got said, and when I called them, if you don't have the ID, there's nothing they can do. You have to have the driver's license number.
And you've probably seen people when you go to the grocery store or whatever, they make a little X on your check. Okay, and what they're doing is they're going to put the individual's driver's license, or if it is they don't have a driver's license, if they're a minor or something, they don't have a driver's license, but they do have a check, or they have a California identification number, it should have a picture on it. Take a second to look at the picture to make sure it's the same person, obviously, and you'd be surprised at how many falsifications we find on driver's licenses. I'm telling you, I shouldn't be telling you this because this is kind of something that's confidential. It's a case that we're working on identity theft. Okay, we have a situation where we confiscated a whole bunch of identity theft stuff, and we've got people that were watching on this, so we can make an arrest on this. And the Department of Justice came up last week, and we went through a whole shelf full of evidence that we had collected from a motel room. That's where we got it from. And shocking enough, it just flat blew the agent and myself away. In an envelope in all of this stuff that they had was, if you look on your driver's license, you see that they've got that little clear seal that's embedded inside the plastic part of it. They actually had probably, there must have been at least 1,000 of them that are, the only place you could get them is from the state building. They were Nevada's, but the little seal, they had probably 1,000 of them on plastic cards that they were waiting to transfer driver's licenses into to make Nevada driver's licenses. So if you get a driver's license from somebody and you take a look at it and it's like it's been altered, be aware. You know what? It's better to turn the check down and save yourself the heartache of having to go through a great big massive legal process and probably not get a red cent out of it. Then it's better to turn the check away. Just be really, really cautious. This is the prime time for bad checks.
Kathy,
Yes.
do you recommend on the deadbolts, you were talking about deadbolts for businesses, or your house, do you recommend keyed on both sides then?
The key on both sides.
Okay, so not just the turnstile
Right.
on the one side.
Right. And don't leave the key on the inside. Okay, when you have a key, when you have a deadbolt lock, it's got the keyhole on each side, it doesn't have a little latch for you to pull over on one side, take that key with you or put that key someplace secure. Because if you leave that key on the inside, that person can break in on the outside, undo that thing and open that door and walk right out. And maybe even take the keys. Okay, so on a check, you're going to get down and make sure that you are very careful with that number, because if you're one number off, you're not going to be able to prosecute it. But let's just say that their driver's license number is X445576. Okay, then the next thing you're going to write off the side is their date of their date of birth. Okay, let's just say it's 12/1/1980. And then if it's not you that's accepting the check and it's one of your employees, have your employee initial that. Also put the amount on there. If it was for $100.10, write the amount on there. And remember, encourage your employees not to allow a check for more than what the merchandise is. Credit cards, major problem. Require a picture ID. Those of you that have credit cards, on the back of your own personal credit cards, on the back of your own personal credit card where it says signature required, don't put your signature. Write on there with black ink, photo ID required.
You know, the post office in Angels Camp would not accept that. They said if you don't sign it, they went through some training or something, and I went in there, and because my bank told me to do that, and the Angels Camp downtown post office would not take my credit card
That's really unbelievable. That's shocking.
because I would not sign it.
Yeah. Well, you can sign it off over the top of it if you want. They're that demanding about it. But if you leave that on there and they turn that over, and you need to encourage your employees to look at the opposite side of a credit card. Say, when you get the credit card, ask for some sort of a picture ID. And then when you get the picture ID, just don't go, yeah, thanks. Take that picture ID and glance at it and make sure that this person isn't a guy. You know, she's signing it as a woman, and the picture on there is a guy, or a husband, or somebody. Require picture ID. Always check the signature on the credit card with the signature on the sales slip. When they charge something with a credit card, you know, they have to sign it. Don't give them back that credit card until they've signed it and you've taken custody of that, and glance at the signature on that driver's license or that form of identification that's got a picture on it, and make sure that that signature is the same signature that that person just wrote on that sales slip. Yes?
I can tell you, nobody does that. They always hand the card back.
I know.
Or they give you the sales
Yeah, they
slip.
do.
And where I lived before in Hong Kong, you never got your card back. I mean, they double check every signature. And it just, to me, even this weekend, I was shopping, and I thought, they hand me the card back, then they give you the receipt, then I sign, and they say thank you, and they actually call me by name off of my card.
Okay.
So, where they don't ask me what my name is or anything, it's really bad.
You know, this can be a first for all you guys in here. Okay, a lot of Calaveras County hasn't had this program. So make it a first. Make you guys the first here. Require picture ID. You teach your employees to turn the card over.
Yeah, you do.
Make sure that the signature on that card, if it has a signature, matches the same thing on the sales slip. You need to train your people to do that. Make them take the time to not just shove that credit card back and say, thanks for your business. Okay? Okay, let's talk about good money and not so good money. A lot of it. Let's talk about good money and bad money.
Oh, I have a,
Don't embarrass us.
well, they make a phone call and you actually take a credit card over the telephone. I have just recently been a victim of a $4,000 scam. And it took a whole lot for me to go through the Visa website to find out what bank that card was issued on, because every bank issues Visas anymore, and find that out, and then call the bank, which is in Corpus Christi, Texas, and then beg for their fraud department, and then run the card through them. Visa is actually, their website is designed for the consumer, not the retailer. So you try to be a retailer and try to get information, it's not as easy as you think. And I found out that it was not indeed the right person. I mean, so are there ways that you can give us clues to identify a person on the phone who's giving you a card for a sale over the telephone?
I can't.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, I can't.
It was just a gut thing. I mean, I was very, very lucky, and my dealer, when I went to make the order, and I was suspicious for some other obvious reasons. I was suspicious when he asked me to ship the stuff to Nigeria, and I said no, I won't. But my dealer was kind enough to not take my order and say, you know, I've known several other customers who've been burnt, you know, sending a $60,000 cello to Europe, lost the cello and the money, etc., that kind of thing. And so he said, I'm going to call those customers and find out how they panned out and get back with you. And it took him a whole day, and he called me back and he says, I think you should be safe before you make this order. So I never ordered the merchandise, and I found out that it wasn't this man's card, and he made the order over the telephone.
Just be really cautious about orders over the phone, especially if they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
You could wind up in serious trouble, and you got no way of collecting it. You have no way of proving it. A lot of that stuff goes to another state. You know, you're pretty SOL on that. I don't know how to tell you to rectify that other than go through what you did. Make a gazillion phone calls to make $10.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I did end up finally, refunding the money through the credit card, but I was afraid to do that until I went through all the channels, because I didn't want the money to go to the wrong guy. And I wanted to make sure that it went back to the card holder, you know, which it ultimately did. But it's a very, there is that little security code on the back, and if you do like PayPal or a more complex cell system, you know, you might be able to find a way to check for that.
Yeah.
I always take
Most of them have that.
I take security code of every credit card that goes.
Well, he
And my
gave
credit
us
card
security
machine
code.
asks for it.
Well, mine doesn't.
You should look at a different credit card processor.
Maybe so.
If you're doing that much volume on tickets, you should have a credit card processor. Ask
This
for
was
it.
kind of a rare situation, but yeah.
And you'll know right off the bat whether it's
Okay. What was that? And tell everybody that?
I missed it.
Well, I mean, one of the things you can do that we kind of just, if you just let the customers know that you're going to wait till the credit card dollar amount clears before you ship, you'll know right off the bat whether it's legit or not.
Well, I waited till the money cleared, but it wasn't his money. It was somebody else. I got the money. It went into my bank. I got the money.
But it
But
was on
somebody
somebody
else
else's
was
credit
going to
card.
get the merchandise.
See, that's what the fear is of this new technology with the computer stuff. And, you know, these people that are stealing people's identities, if they would take their brain and move it into a medicine, we probably would have a cure for just about everything. But instead, they're dwelling on ways to get to us. And that's what's really scary about business owners and about any one of us. Has anybody in here been a victim of identity theft? Okay, look at how many there are. Okay, you know what? Those of you that didn't raise your hand, you better be careful, because you might be a victim right now and not even know it. That's what's scary about identity theft. I personally have been a victim of identity theft. I think some of you that have been in any meetings that I've been at before, I'll tell you my quick little story. My husband in 2003 was involved in a head-on vehicle accident on his way to work. He was flown to Modesto to the medical center down there, where he had a ruptured aorta and a completely destroyed sternum and a broken neck and broken back and broken nose and a whole bunch of injuries that they didn't think he was going to survive. Well, for the first couple of days that we were in the hospital with him, we didn't really think about anything other than the fact that we may lose him. However, after the initial week, we found out he was going to survive and he was going to be out of work for a considerable length of time. And we raised Arabian horses, and Arabian horses are, well, any horse is not cheap to keep anymore. And you know, that our second business was about ready to go under if he wasn't going to be able to work, and I was working, and we just wasn't going to be able to make ends meet. So I got a hold of some paperwork and filled out some forms for state disability. So about 2 weeks after I sent the paperwork in, we were notified through the state that my husband was not eligible to collect state disability because of the fact he had been collecting unemployment for the last 18 months. My husband has never been on unemployment in his entire life. He has worked for Calaveras County for 25 years. He has never been on unemployment. Some gentleman in San Diego had been collecting on his unemployment account for 17 months. Now, needless to say, they was going to a post office box down there, and once they notified the police department down there, they said there's not much we can do. Because the minute the checks stop coming, he won't be going to the post office. Never caught him. By the time that we got that cleared up, had to get him a new Social Security number. We've never been in San Diego. We don't know. Don't know how in the world the individual got his Social Security number. Don't have the slightest idea to this day. He had to get a new Social Security number. We had to go through all kinds of living hell to get our it took us almost 2 years to get it cleared up. And by then he was back to work, and then the state disability said, too late, you're back to work. So it's pretty scary. Identity theft takes about 2 years to clear your name. And once you've been a victim, you'll be a victim again. They sell your information to different states. One of these days I would like to come back for about an hour to an hour and a half and talk to you about identity theft. It is an awesome program. I've had many people request that program when I work for the sheriff's office. It does take an hour and a half to go through, and I do make you fill in the blanks. If you don't like filling in the blanks, don't come. And it is a really, really big eye-opener. Okay, let's talk about, where were we on here? Good money and bad money. Okay. With the computer technology that we have now, making bad money very simple. I have got this that I'm going to pass around. Please do not open this. This is evidence. This case has been adjudicated. This is actually 4 different cases. This is counterfeit money. This is going to do you any good to take it, other than I'll throw your butt in jail if I find you. Excuse the expression, but that's exactly what happened to you. Yeah, I got a sign-in sheet. Yeah, you probably roll their thumb on it too. Okay. This, I've probably got 50 envelopes full of counterfeit money that we have picked up here in Amos County. Okay, this is just 4 that I brought only because of the fact that I didn't want to bring a bunch of sheets because I don't want to have to keep control of it. Okay, it is adjudicated cases. It isn't something that this case is still an open or anything like that. This money here, we're waiting for the state or the federal government to come and pick up this money. But in the meantime, I got permission from the chief to bring it here today. I'm going to pass it around. Please don't open it. Okay, I'm going to pass it around. Take a look at how perfect it is. You'll be shocked. Absolutely shocked. I brought, oh yeah. Yeah. Actually, afterward, if you want to come up and take the money out, I'll let you do it. Okay, I just need to be in control of all this in here. You guys understand that, I'm sure. Now, this is a $100 bill and came out of my checking account at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. It is not counterfeit. And if this money winds up missing, I'm not going to be a happy camper with any of you. Okay? But I want to pass it around. I want you to look at it. And we're going to talk, as it's going around, I want you to take a quick look at it and I'm going to talk to you really quickly about how you can tell that it's good or bad. And believe me, I've got fingerprints. Okay. Okay, let's talk about money. Is it in his pocket yet? If you will take a really close look at it up against the light, you will see, first of all, you guys know the new money that portrait's been shifted off to the side. And the reason why they did that is because when people fold their money in half, it has a tendency to destroy the features on the face. Okay, it has lines in it all the way around here that are very, very fine. And believe it or not, on let me explain to you what's on the lines. Shoot, I don't have my glasses. Okay, it says, the fine lines printed behind Benjamin Franklin's portrait and the Independence Hall are difficult to duplicate because of the fact they're so thin and they're so fine. If you take a look at that bill when it comes around, and if you take a look at the counterfeit money, it's identical. You can really see how easy it is. Number 3 is the watermark. If you will look right here, you will see a discoloration in the real $100 bill. Number 4.
Can they duplicate that watermark?
No, they can't. Okay, we're going to talk about how to check this money out. Okay, here is one thing that you can check. Number 4, color shifting ink. If you look on the right-hand corner of the bill, if you look at it straight on, it is green. If you tilt it, it turns black. Look at the $100 bill as it's going around. Look at it straight on and tilt it, and you will see that it changes color. Counterfeit money cannot do that. Number 5. Microprinting. Okay, what that is, on number 5, all the way around here on his collar and in the $100 thing, it says US 100 on it. And if you can see that, good for you, because I can't. They can't duplicate that. Federal Reserve indicator numbers, which that's not something that you're going to be concerned about because even the fake money has it on it. And number 8 is the serial numbers. Make sure the serial numbers match. Believe it or not, I have some money in my office that is counterfeit, but the serial numbers, the idiots didn't put the A on the end of it. It's really amusing. Okay, how you can tell fake money from good money. If you hold it up to the light, right here, you will see that again. Oh, it's real easy to see. You take a look at the money. The other thing is the shifting colored ink is another main thing. There's a thread mark in them. Thread mark is right up in here. There is a watermark over here. Take a look at the money as it's being passed around. The $100 bill is the only one that I'm aware of that has the duplicate. Yes?
On the thread mark, can that be actually taken out?
No, can't. That is actually embedded.
So what about the $20 bills? Can that be taken out?
No.
I'm taking it out.
Yeah, it can be taken out.
Pardon me?
Yeah, it can be taken out.
Yeah,
Can it be taken out?
you can pull that and then you can just pull that thing and it comes out and it
Yeah, but you're going to have
$100.
$100. You're going to have money that's, so you can't break that apart. That's going to be real, real hard to do. You'd be able to tell that that money has been altered.
You just don't want to.
The other
You
one
used to
you
be able
will.
to, I mean, I can
Taken
see
out.
where it is, I just wondered if it was the same way you used to be able, when they first came out with it probably, is tear that, and you could pull that little string out, and it would say, you know, you did like the 20, you could take $20 on that little string.
Another thing that you can do if you check good money. Another thing, are everybody listening? Another thing that you can do to check good money versus bad money, and it's not just a $100 bill, it's any paper money, is by buying one of those pens. And they are super cheap. If you mark the bill and it comes out a yellowish color, it is good money. If you mark it and it comes out a brownish color, it is phony money. Yes.
I had one of the merchants when I went around Saturday to remind me about this, asking where can they buy those pens.
this year. Where'd that phony money go? I want to see what that phony money is.
All they do is get
How
on
much
me,
it cost to
and
put in
more than glad to give the address. I have information here on the pens. Yeah, Staples have it.
I'm selling them in my shop.
Starting tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
Oh, we would all like to get those, Ann. We'd all like to get one.
No, they last a long time.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be turning unless you're talking over bad money. Don't use it to do other things, but that's just strictly for the money.
Does it marker leave a mark on the dollar? So you can tell when it's been checked before? And again, and again, and again, and again?
It's a real pale mark. If it turns dark, don't hand them the money back. Okay, let's talk about safety. Let's talk about safety. If you get a credit card that's bad, keep your credit card. If the person gets nasty with you, give them the credit card. It isn't worth, you guys getting shot in the face or something for. If at all possible, retain it. And normally what will happen, when you say you're going to retain it, they're gone. Okay, they split. If you have bad money, retain it. If they want to fight you for it, give it back to them. If you have a person that gets irritated with you and they leave the store, if at all possible, see what they get into. Get a license plate number. Don't run out there and say, whoops, stand still a minute, I need to talk to you on your license. Don't get that, but get your information off of what the license plate reads, even if you only get a partial. Another thing too, when we were talking about the checks, when you write the person's, on driver's license number on the check, if it's not a California driver's license, put what state it's from. We can check that real easy. Yes.
You get a bad California driver's license, you have to fix it.
Yeah. Keep it and call us.
You have to turn it in within 40 hours.
Yeah. You have to call us right away, or you can be in trouble. It's marked on it. Yeah, start money. Start with that. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Huh?
So black means bad? What color should it be?
Cover your face would be helpful.
Okay, let's talk about that. A question that was asked is if you think somebody was shot from you, you have the authority to say to that person, like, something that you see inside your person. You do not have that authority to do that. However, if they leave the store and you suspect it, you need to find out right off the bat where they're headed, give us a description, what they're driving or whatever. But you don't want to get into a fishing match with somebody, and that's what will wind up happening. So you don't want to don't get yourself involved in becoming injured because of trying to get shoplifters to give you back the items. Several months ago, I was down at Mervyn's, and there was this old lady that was there. Let me tell you, people that shoplift aren't just teenagers. Okay, they can be 80 years old and still shoplift. I was down in Mervyn's, walking around in there, and there was this old lady in there. And I mean, she was really old. She was old, but she had to have been in her 90s. That's how old she was. And she came walking up there, and there's the jewelry counter there, and she walked up to it like this, and she looked around, and she opened up her purse, and she went, shoved it all right in her purse, closed it up, and she started walking around, and I walked up to the sales lady, and I said, you know what, I think that lady just ripped you off. And she said, well, how do you know? Well, I said, well, I just watched her. So they called the security guard over there. The security guard asked her, and they walked up to her and they said, Margaret, put this stuff back. She comes in there every day.
No.
She comes in there every day and looks them off. Sometimes she's caught and sometimes she's not. But because of the fact she's 90 years old, they don't feel like that they want to do anything with her. That's probably why they're bankruptcy. But anyway, if you have a funny feeling,
That's when River's
if you have a funny feeling about a transaction that's about to occur, don't second guess yourself. cancel it without being a victim. Because once it's gone, it's gone. I hate to tell you that, it's real hard to recover stolen property like that. Yes?
You are talking about these pens. Are you going to talk about the watching of 1s and 5s and reprinting them as 100s?
That's pretty hard to do, but they can do it.
For the people that are in this room, just a heads up, it does happen. Happens on about $100 bills. What they do is they'll wash the bill, they will reprint it as a higher denomination, and will not catch that. So I didn't want anybody in the room to think that